I'm going to share 5 helpful tips for bidding in a competitive market, followed by 1 tip that could actually cost you your dream home, and I'll end on some advice for finding the best deal in a competitive market. First off, 5 tips for bidding in a competitive housing market. Tip number 1, educate yourself. Understand value, look at past sales data, talk to agents and understand refurbishment costs. Go out and look at the past sales data that's out there on the property price register. Also talk to agents and ask them in terms of what their view is on market value, and get them to explain what the market value is within a particular area on price per square foot. Also, if the property needs refurbishment, reach out to a contractor, befriend a contractor, get a good idea on what refurb costs are going to be per square meter for that type of property. This will help you determine what the market value is of the property before you go and bid. Tip number 2, set a maximum bid for the property before you actually bid for it. Write down that maximum bid. If bidding goes beyond that, take out that piece of paper that you wrote down your maximum bid on, have a look at it and go, this property is not for me and there will be others. I see so many people go over and above what their maximum budget is when they're bidding on a property, and a lot of times they fall out of love with the property. Number 3, try to befriend the agent. Try to get more insight in the property. Try to figure out who you're bidding against. Are you going up against investors, cash buyers, or are people mortgage holders that you're bidding against? Be top of mind for the agent, so you are the first person who gets the call if there's any changes with the property, or if there's any bidding happening, that you're the first person who gets the first call. This puts you in a great position to control the actual bidding process. 4, be first. Be first to bid. You get to set the tone and you win favour with the agent. Looking back over my sales over the last 3 or 4 years, nearly 90% of the first bidders were actually the people who won the property in the end. 5, put the offer in writing and provide as much backup and financial backup information as you possibly can. If bids are close, the agent will see that you have the ability to close and close quickly, and therefore they may recommend your bid over others. There's a lot of fear and worry being put out there into the ether in regards to the fact that you should never disclose your maximum bid, as agents will use it against you. Most of this advice comes from people who are not in the industry and don't have a full working knowledge of how the industry works. With all the will in the world, I do not think agents are that good at their job that they'll be able to manipulate the market price based on the fact that they just know your maximum budget. Being adamant not to disclose your maximum budget assumes that buyers are stupid and have no self-control. Just because you can buy a €9 pint of Guinness in Temple Bar doesn't mean that you'll go to Temple Bar when you can buy a €6 pint of Guinness on Camden Street. Bidders should be shown some respect that they have some self-control and won't bid over the market price for a property. I often let agents know what my client's budget is. It shows agents that my clients have the ability to pay for their property. It also shows that the banks are unlikely to make a big issue about it, and it shows that they have the ability to close and unlikely are going to get cold feet because it's not at their maximum budget. These are all good reasons why an agent would recommend a bid from such a person who provides all this information over and above someone who has been very difficult to get information out of. If a property needs work, the agent will also assume that the buyer is going to have to keep some of their budget for that refurb. In some countries and in some jurisdictions, you can't even get in the front door for a viewing without providing proof of funds. And this is only fair. Perhaps owners shouldn't have to open up their house to just everyone. Before I move on to a tip that could actually cost you your dream home, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I am trying to improve the channel all the time, and every sub gives me extra motivation to keep improving this channel. I'm hoping to reach 5,000 by Christmas Day, a little Christmas gift to myself, so please feel free to share the channel as well with anyone that you think might be interested. If you've any thoughts on the tips so far, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear some feedback. The final bidding tip could cost you your dream house. I've heard people give this tip that have perhaps never won a competitive bidding situation, and that tip is to place a bid that matches the current offer. Only ever do this if you're coming from a position of strength. If you are the weakest bidder or there's more than one bidder at play, you will immediately rule yourself out of contention. An experienced agent will ask you to confirm in writing that this is your best and final bid. Once you've done so, they will revert to the other bidders and advise them that any small increase will win them the property, ruling you out immediately. Matching a bid is a risk. It may only frustrate the agent and the seller, and is only worth considering doing if you're coming from a position of strength and you know you are the strongest bidder. I have made recommendations to clients in the past to match bids, but in each case they were coming from a position of strength. They were flexible on their closing dates and they were cash buyers, which I knew would apply to the seller after detailed conversations with the agent. Luckily, all the bids were successful, but I did highlight the risk to my clients before we move forward. Only match a bid if you're willing to risk losing the property and you're coming from a position of strength. Going forward, this is probably going to be less and less of an opportunity as more agents move to an online bidding system. I hear a lot of people say that there's no value in the market right now. I've said it myself that it is extremely hard to find value right now, but it's not impossible. I ran a property training course at the start of summer, and one of the ideas I wanted to instill was the importance of your network in terms of trying to find deals. For years, property gurus have preached the idea of putting letters in people's mailboxes, also using social media to find leads on sellers. But the data suggests that only maybe 5% of leads come through this way, and most of those leads go nowhere. Studies have found that nearly 50% of good deals actually come through your network. Therefore, growing your network is extremely important in terms of trying to find good property deals. But it's also important that your network knows what you're looking for in terms of what your budget is and what your property criteria is as well. In terms of where your best leads can come from, generally speaking, agents, solicitors and accountants can provide some of the best leads because sometimes they are the first people to know that someone might be selling. And if they know you're in the market for something similar, you could be the first person to get the phone call. But you could also go one step further. Talk to the local pub, local barman, let him know that you're looking to buy a particular type of property. Who knows, someone may drop into their local and say that they're thinking about leaving the area and selling up. Or you go even further, and when you're walking around that area, if you see someone cleaning their house or someone doing their garden, you could always mention to them, wow, it's such a beautiful neighborhood, I'd love to live here someday. And you don't know where that conversation could end up because they might know that one of their neighbors are thinking about selling soon. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button. Also, please subscribe to the channel. It gives me extra motivation to continue on with this journey and growing this channel. Please feel free to share the channel with anyone you feel that might benefit from it, and you will find other property related videos that might help you here.